Everybody, and welcome to the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency Advisory Committee meeting of this Monday, June the 6th, 2016. Can we begin with a roll call?
Mr. Aristide? Ms. Cobo? Here. Ms. Cohen? Here. Mr. Each?
Here.
Ms. Estime Irvin? Ms. Geimer?
Present.
Mr. McDermott?
Present.
Dr. Millian?
Here.
Dr. Moise? Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Robillard?
Here.
Mr. Sanchez?
Yes.
We have quorum, sir.
Okay. All right, can we please begin with the Pledge of Allegiance?
We'll do the minutes.
Flag is back there, yeah. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll tell him.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 2nd?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
one change, a comment. Dr. Enoch says that he's here listed as absent in the minutes when he was actually here present. So the minutes should reflect that he was present at the May 2nd meeting.
Okay. Any other amendments to the minutes? That being said, do I hear a motion to approve? Second, all in favor say aye. Aye.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Each.
Okay. And Cohen?
Each, and yes, and Ms.
Okay.
Cohen seconded it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's move right into our action items. I know
Sure.
some people have to leave a little early, so can we begin, please, with agenda item number 1?
And just for the record, our CRA attorney is sick today. It was a last-minute cancellation. He's not here with us. And also the city manager was called away at a meeting. So I will be assisting you today.
Okay.
Billy's Pub 2, American Pubs 4, is requesting a rehab grant. They're located at 732 Northeast 125th Street. They're requesting the grant to rehab the interior to include, but not limited to, renovation of the bathrooms, new floorings, new windows and doors, and roof. They've applied for the White Green funds, and that's what they're going to use for the rest of the renovations. The lowest bidded amount was $144,532. There are no open violations on this property, and as this will improve the aesthetics of the downtown corridor, attract new business and clientele, and increase revenue, staff recommends approval of the 50% of the total grant request, which is $72,266. I've created a spreadsheet for you, which is right at the back of it. I've used it in the past at other cities, and it's a checklist that helps me maintain the bid amount and the license numbers, and most of the times it helps everybody keep track of what's being asked and so on and so forth. It's a good record maintenance. So that's why you have this new spreadsheet there. Mr. Jerry Rubenstein is here as the owner of Billy's Pub 2 if you have any questions. But I'm pretty sure everybody knows he's west of the Mocha Cafe. Right next door to, on the west of him is the uniform, Continental Uniform. He's been here since 1996. Yes, I had said 1997 before. And he intends to stay in the community. What he's asking for is the ability to completely rehab the interior of the place. There's some before and after pictures. Well, not after, but some drawings of what it is that he would like it to look like. And we are requesting your approval of this. It's a bar.
Okay. Would you like to address us?
If you have any questions, I'd be glad to. Well, you asked me for money, I think you should tell us a little bit. Okay. Where should I start? We've been at the bar, as I said. My name's Jerry Rubenstein. And move around. Okay. And as Rasha said, we've been there since 1996. And it was actually my father who started the bar in 96. It was an old Flanagan's. He passed away in 2000, and I moved down here to take over the operation and some other bars that we own as well, that he owned as well. at this point, we've spent a lot of money over the past several years fixing the bar up, doing new flooring, ceilings, but we really need to do a complete renovation, and we'd like to do that, obviously, to keep pace with the things that Raj is talking about with regards to the CRA.
Any questions?
I'll just make a comment. I have the building next door, and, we have a very cooperative relationship. Actually, all the buildings in a row there, everyone there is pretty cooperative, and things are pretty harmonious. We address problems together, so it's a good neighbor.
And how much are we asking for this?
His will be 70, because it's,
We're spending
72
$72,000.
yeah, 72,266 will be our grant.
So what are we doing to the outside?
No, it's inside.
It's all inside,
All inside?
All
there's no
inside.
facade?
yeah. The windows and doors, new bathroom, flooring.
We actually will be doing the outside, but we won't be using any grant money for that. We'll be using our own money for that.
What are you
Because
gonna
it was
put in
after.
there?
We're gonna redo the entire patio, new bar area, actually redo the flooring, which is concrete, put in all new, I think there's a rendering there too, isn't there, Rasha,
No,
of what we
only
did?
for the
No, only the
application.
interior?
Yeah.
I didn't
That's on
really-
the
It's on the-
north side of the building,
It's on the
Facing the
south side.
parking lot.
facing the parking lot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you do anything on the 123rd, 125th Street?
The front of the store?
Yeah.
Not yet. We'd like to do that if the CRA can move forward with a lot of the things that we've been told may happen.
But,
Yeah, we'd like to do a cafe in front as well.
but aren't the windows part of the windows in the
Yeah,
front?
the
windows
Yes. and the doors
Windows are being
Part
redone.
of the facade
Yeah.
change.
What he's talking about is future, as we look at having sidewalk cafes and things like that, that's what he's talking about. So that's not like an immediate project.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or input?
Motion?
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve? Or
Mark has been in the community for a long time, and he's looking to renovate his business
Mhm.
and make it more attractive for more customers and so forth. We
Mhm.
should go ahead.
Is that a motion?
Is that a motion?
Yes,
Motion to
Good.
approve?
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion?
Well,
Okay.
I'm only, I guess, gonna say, I think I've had like a lengthy discussion trying to understand like how and why we spend money around issues involving CRA funds and stuff.
Mhm.
I guess my simple question in that would be, how is something interior really help what the CRA trying to do?
Well, if you're rehabbing the interior, and, which is what he's doing, he's gonna update his menu, he's gonna bring in new clientele. At the end of the day, you're not gonna be able to bring clients to patronize you if the inside is outdated, not well-maintained. And if you look at the pictures and everything, you see he's actually renovating it, doing new floors, new everything. So it's gonna be a totally different kind of atmosphere, so that he can, and part of what we're gonna be doing in the future as, the CRA gets extended, is we're attracting new clients. So when they come to Cafe Creme, they can go to Billy's Pub after. When they come to the the boutique, the dress lady who was here last month, they can go to Billy's Pub afterwards. And then they're gonna start patronizing and so on and so forth. But if you leave the existing businesses in their current state and you don't help them, you're not really helping the rest of the community.
Yeah,
If that
but-
explains a little bit of what, it's not just facade. That's the point. The facade is just the exterior. But if you walk in and the business inside of it is not well-maintained, you're not gonna stay, you're not gonna be able to come and patronize, and that's not gonna help his revenue moving forward.
I can understand that part, but I guess my thing to this, in terms of its impact outside of, I guess, making the business beautiful or whatnot, but is there an issue where, can the business afford to do it itself? Or could the fund be allocated somewhere else where it's probably better allocated in line with what the CRA are trying to do?
Well,
Can the business afford it itself?
Well, he's taking out, if I'm not mistaken, a Y Green loan, which is a financing that's gonna be put on his property taxes for the next 10 to 15 years to pay for his balance, okay? So he is making an investment. he has skin in the game, he wants to stay on, he wants to improve it, but he needs our help. And that is one of the core missions of what a CRA is. So, I mean, I don't know if anybody else wants to add, maybe I'm not explaining it.
I mean, it was made clear to me in the very beginning, because that, you know, this is not an issue of need. We're not a social organization that's taking care of the needy. We are trying to get people to invest in their businesses, and we're giving people money to people to do that with our oversight. But if someone comes to us that's very rich and wants to redo their shopping center, and they're willing to put up some money and make it a lot better, we don't, need is not one of the issues we consider. What we consider is the end result of the project. And that's, we want to get people, we want to get people that have the means to do it, to step to the plate and make the investment.
Yeah, see,
That's it.
We'll be bringing in new clientele when this happens. We
yeah,
have
well,
people.
I think one of the things too, and we've experienced here in the past in our CRA, is that we want to make sure that if we make an investment in a property, that not only that the owner participates, but the owner has the strength to continue on. And we've had instances here in the past, as some of our older members know, where we've invested in businesses with the best of intentions, but the businesses haven't survived because they didn't have the economic strength to survive. Billy's too has the economic strength to survive. So if we invest the money, we know it pretty much not only is he participating 50%, he has the economic strength to survive, to make that investment really, particularly for our downtown corridor, which is one of the main focuses of the CRA, pay off.
You know, we invested heavily in Mocha Restaurant, right down the street.
Mocha
from
Cafe.
Mocha Cafe, and it's so far so good.
Yeah.
You know, but going along with Billy's too, they've been in business a long time. They have skin in the game, and we've taken chances in the past, as the chairman said, which I've got questions where I think it would have been more appropriate for that business to go to the Small Business Administration and get a loan, not to the CRA. But like this gentleman here, he has skin in the game. They've been there, geez, like 20 years that I know. When it was Big Daddy's Inferno or something like that back in the
Yeah.
day.
And then, was it Big Daddy's, and it became Flanagan's? And then
Yeah, Big Daddy's and Flanagan's.
Flanagan's, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so part of it is making sure that people have the economic security. And we're supposed to be doing things in our major corridors, like 7th Avenue downtown, 6th Avenue. And this fits in with the projection of what the city council, as the CRA board, is trying to do for the downtown corridor and redevelopment. So we have
You have a motion and a second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
The second applicant, Mr. Babby's not here yet, from Continental Uniform. Would you like to still hear his item or wait till,
Well, just
give
put
him
it-
some time?
Yeah, wait till
Okay.
he comes.
All right.
We have some others here.
Agenda item number 3 is Pediatric Therapy Center. Let me switch over. Hold on. Let the record reflect that Ms. Estime Irving is here and Dr. Moise is here as well. Okay. Okay. Pediatric Therapy Center is requesting a beautification grant request and also a waiver of the beautification guidelines for the up to $15,000. They're asking for $20,000, and I'm gonna explain why in a little bit. So they are a speech language pathology center. They provide occupational therapy, physical therapy to children, and they are located at 1897 Northeast 146th Street. 90% of their clients are residents of the city of North Miami. The renovations include new AC system, it's very warm in there, signage, painting, and security cameras. They've had a little a few security mishaps in the parking lot. They are the tenant. They have a long-term lease with the property owner, and it's a triple net, which means the improvements, he's responsible for the improvements in the property. I visited it. When you go there, it's full of children. It's full of teachers and instructors. The carpet is very outdated. It's old. It's not well maintained. There was an incident where Mr. Leonard is here. A parent, when stepped out of her car, went inside. She came back. Her purse was missing, and so on and so forth. It's a great service that he provides to the community. So that's one of the reasons why I am recommending this. And he's also attached a letter explaining a little bit more of what it is that he wants. The overall repairs that he wants to do to the place, when we went through it, like I said, the total amount was $28,000, and if we had given them the $15,000, he wouldn't be able to finish all the paint work because of his budget. So I suggested that you consider waiving the beautification guidelines from $15,000 to $20,000, so therefore he will match the overage, which is the $8,425, so he can actually do the full renovation at that center. Okay, there are, if I'm not mistaken, because it's a very lengthy page, there are pictures, as you can see in there. There you go. At the last page, right before the local business tax receipt, it's like I said, when you go there, you see it's being utilized. There are tons of kids. There are tons of instructors, but the facility is very worn and it needs some support. Mr. Leonard is here. Like I said, he can speak. And the value, again, is we are providing a comfortable, secure place for our children to receive services. It's not in the downtown area. It's more, more closer to the industrial section, a little pocket that the CRA covers. But, like Mr. Rubio had asked, like, what's the value and so on. This is a value that I felt was very appropriate. You have children, you have small children coming for occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy. And the facility that they're being treated as is warm and it's worn out and it needs our support. So, Mr. Leonard?
Yeah. Mr. Chairman,
Good evening.
members of the committee. It's actually nice being on this side of the aisle. It's actually unique for me. My name's Jordan Leonard. My wife and I are the owners of Pediatric Therapy Center. Like Rasha said, we provide speech language pathology, occupational therapy, and physical therapy only to kids, to peds, in the greater North Miami area. We are the largest facility in North Miami. In fact, we're actually one of the larger facilities in South Florida because there's such a great demand. Many of our patients are on Medicaid or type of social services. Very few of them pay out of their pocket or pay full rate. We treat children that have autism. We treat children that have anything you could possibly imagine, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome. You think of it, the 1%, that's our average. And we are one of the only facilities that handles more extreme and severe cases also. To put in perspective, if they didn't come to a facility like ours, they would go to perhaps like Miami Children's. There are very few facilities left of our level that can handle all three disciplines. My wife and I, my wife started the business about 8 years ago. About 2 years ago, we had a merger and acquisition of Kids Connection. You probably, if you look at the pictures, you'll see the sign that says Kids Connection. Kids Connection had been in business for 16 years, and we bought them out and moved our business from Bay Harbor Islands to North Miami. So not only did we expand, but we also moved our main office to North Miami, which is our primary location. So we are, taxpayers, so to speak. We do have a triple net lease, so we do pay property taxes, and we pay into the system, and as such, into the TIF and the CRA. This grant, if you approve it tonight and the CRA board approves it next week, will replace 2 of our 3 air conditioners. We have 3 main AC units. Imagine a industrial area with about 4,000 square feet. To put in perspective, we have offices, rooms for therapy, and we have a big gym. To put in perspective, we actually have a zip line inside the gym. That's how big it is. It's 14 feet high. So 2 out of the 3 AC units are really in not good condition. We need to change those out. That's my responsibility as the tenant because it's a triple net lease. The security door that when we moved in does not work at all. So there's no way to actually lock the actual facility other than just locking a glass door. Whereas the other tenants have this accordion metal door, we would like to get that fixed and repaired, so it provides an extra level of security at night. The front signage, we haven't changed yet. We would like the front signage to be changed to reflect the current business. The carpet, as Rasha mentioned, the carpet really needs to be changed. You know, there are kids and parents that not only walk on that, but we also treat sometimes on the floor too. We want to get that all changed. Not every room has carpet. There's about 7 rooms that have carpet in the facility. Painting, the additional $5,000 that you would appropriate with the waiver would really be towards the painting. The painting is significant. Imagine 4,000 square feet and as high as 14 feet above. That's a significant initiative. And if you appropriate the extra money, we would be able to do the painting. Security cameras, as Rasha mentioned, we've had 3 incidents since I've been at this facility where parents and employees have had their cars broken into, all during daylight. You know, what happens as a parent, you know, and I have 3 kids, so I understand. You know, you leave your car door open, you leave your purse there because you're just running to drop your kid in and run out, and guess what? Smash and grab. We've had 3 in almost 2 years. And security cameras, that's what the North Miami Police Department recommends. If we have this, we'll be able to have most of our security cameras facing the parking lot. I'm more worried about that for the parents' sake. And lastly, hand dryers. I've spent more money on fixing the toilets in our facility. And by the way, the toilets are brand new. But I've spent more money fixing the toilets than I did to have the toilets replaced because we obviously have paper towels. And, you know, you can't get mad at a kid that's low functioning that stuffs the toilet with paper towels. That's just nature. I think it's more sustainable, more green, and also it's going to save me a lot of money if we buy hand dryers. So these are the things that if you appropriate this money, I'll be able to do. And not only that, be able to be a good business owner in North Miami. If you think about who we service the kids that have nowhere to go. And I can tell you right now, you know, we've never turned anyone away. If you think of all the kids out there that have special needs and need servicing, you know, if we have a slot open, we'll take you. And not many people will do that. And that's not as a business owner, that's as a parent. When you think about it, we don't turn people away. And this is the first time I've ever asked for funding for this business. So thank you so much, and I'll be available for any questions you have.
Okay. Yes.
As a physician,
Yes.
I understand.
Is the mic on? Mic
Is
on?
Thank you. As a physician, I understand the challenges of taking care of special needs children. And I really commend you and your wife
Thank you.
for really taking care of these special group of children for us. I enthusiastically recommend
Thank you.
that we accept these grant requests for you.
So, can I
Wait,
just say,
wait,
for
we
the
need
sake
to-
of this, you need to waive the,
Well, first off, let's have
Yeah.
questions first.
yeah, if you have any
Does
questions.
anybody else have any other questions of this? Going once, going twice? Okay.
So,
One
Yeah.
other question.
Sure.
Now, you're fully licensed by the state of Florida and et
Yes.
cetera, et cetera?
We have everyone that treats in our office,
no,
so with the exception of the front office staff and myself, my wife's a speech-language pathologist, has a medical license from the state of Florida. We are also have what you would consider a group association for under Medicaid, ACA. You know, we adhere to all the rules and regulations that we have to. We're considered a facility, so when you consider us, think of us like a hospital because we are credentialed as such. But we do have Medicaid numbers and obviously MPI numbers and medical licenses from the Department of Health. So everyone that treats in our facility is either a speech-language pathologist, occupational therapist, physical therapist, or speech or OT assistant. Those are the 5 types of individuals that treat in our office.
Well, we certainly need your services in this community. I mean, it's as Dr. Moise pointed out, it's a very valuable service.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But we have 2 items.
yes,
The first item is whether or not
Two.
we're going to waive the
beautification
the
guideline of the up to
beautification guidelines for
15,000 to
15
20,000.
from 15 to 20,000.
So moved.
Okay?
Second.
Well,
Okay,
Okay.
I lost.
Any further discussion?
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And
The second item is the approval, I think we already have a motion from Dr. Muiz to approve the grant. Okay, and there's a second from Kenny Each.
Estimate Irvin, Ms. Estimate Irvin made the second.
Oh, okay, all right. Yes, you may, of course.
I would like to tell you that with agency that you have,
Yes.
you don't have to explain too much. Next time, little bit shorter.
Oh, sure, no problem. Next one will be short. You got it.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
and I think part of what we'll be doing also in the future is we will be scheduling like visits when
Yeah.
like a
Right.
grand reopening and so
Absolutely.
on, like we did with Captain
Right.
Jim, so you actually see.
Yeah, and
You
and
know.
again, it's a very valuable service you
It is.
supply to our kids, so we appreciate that.
I appreciate it too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Okay.
thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Second item is also Mr. Leonard. He recently, should I say inherited, is it okay? Yeah.
Acquired,
And
yeah.
he recently acquired this property at 12567 Northeast 7th Avenue, which is right on Northeast 7th Avenue.
Across the
it-
street.
Well, somewhat across the street, but more on 7th Avenue. It's a small office, and he needs to do a complete renovation of the building. It's a complete demo inside, and you'll see some before and after pictures because the inside of it was left unmaintained and inhabited for a while. The good news is when he acquired the property, he was able to also secure a tenant. And the caveat is all the renovation needs to be done by September 1st so that he can come in. So as a new property owner, yeah, you see it? You see the mess? Yeah. And it's been, Mr. Leonard can explain a little bit more. But again, this one is a rehab grant to rehab the complete interior, and it would be a 50%, no waivers required, for 50% of the grant request.
Okay, and that would be how much, Russia?
Hold on I need to get to the cover page. Hold on. The lowest bidded amount is. Yeah, okay, here we go. The lowest bidded amount is 101,300. So the 50% of that would be 50,650. Again, apart from it renovating exactly our downtown area, the most important thing is he already has a tenant. He has a lease. The only issue is, the tenant needs to move in by September 1st. Now, there are no open violations on that property. However, there were several open permits that stayed open since 1992. And I spoke with the building official and code, and when he pulls the new permits, it kind of, it'll erase the old permits. So there are right now, no violations, no issues, except what you saw inside the property. It's a real estate office, yes?
Yes.
It's a real estate office that signed a lease with him.
And what is the rate that you leased it at?
The rate,
The rate, yeah.
The lease,
The lease rate,
it's $19.
$19
square
Square
foot.
a square foot?
Yes.
Is that an all-inclusive or is that a triple net?
It's not a triple net.
It's just it's an all-inclusive?
They pay utilities,
Okay.
but I pay taxes and insurance.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
that's a good price.
It is, and it's.
Yeah, that's
it's
great to hear, actually.
Super.
Mhm.
The,
Downtown.
If you're entertaining any, I think,
Yeah, and this is on, again, matter of fact, it's in the new Chinatown district.
no, it's
No,
right
no,
there,
no, it's
Northeast
Northeast
7th Avenue,
Northeast.
right
Oh,
there,
Northeast,
Northeast.
yeah,
Northeast.
Northeast.
Yeah.
Gotta put my
It's up-
glasses
Yeah,
on.
right. It's right up the
Yeah.
street.
Right.
It has is it little red
Yeah.
brick?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
facing Northeast
It's a very
7th
cute
Avenue.
MIMO building.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a MIMO.
Very
Yeah.
attractive.
Yeah, if I may say, when Rasha mentioned that it's acquired, it was my father's property. If anyone's been in North Miami and they know 7th Avenue, my father was Gene Leonard. He was a CPA, and he practiced in North Miami for almost 30 years, actually, until my father passed away 4 years ago. So my father practiced in an office. First, he was at 1313 with, he used to share space with Ben Jacoby. And then he took over this office on 7th Avenue. He was there for almost 20 years, literally until the day he died. And when my father passed away, the property, was held in a trust, a family trust that I unfortunately had no control over. So the family member that was in charge of the trust really let it go. And I have to admit, it's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing, not just being, you know, someone who's known in the community, but, you know, being your father's only son, to see it literally wither away is, it's heartbreaking. You know, that's the guy that put you through school, that put, you know, clothes on your back and food on the table. And for 4 years, literally, I'm at the point where the property is literally uninhabitable. I have a report from a professional agency that did a mold report, and the property is not habitable. So when you look at that number, don't look at it as, gee, I just want to get as much money as possible. I have to literally gut that property down to the bare concrete and rehab it from scratch. So what I'm doing is not necessarily common, because very rarely will you find a property where you have to go to that extent. And I'm willing to invest my money into it, because to me, it's more than just investing money. It's, to me, bringing that property up to par to what it should be. And you know, and if you approve this, again, it's a 50-50. I'll put my 50% in. And like I said, I do have a tenant for it.
Okay.
Do you
And
really
the-
think you can get it done by September?
It's actually October, I'm sorry. It's actually October. Yeah, it is. It's October. But I have spoken to the contractor that has the first, and if you guys approve it tonight, I'm actually going to be putting into the building department tomorrow.
permits.
I already have the plans already done. The PE already did his part, the engineering schematic, so I just need to apply and get the ball rolling. And I think they can do that within the time. So, you know, if I didn't, I wouldn't be coming to you.
How long has that property been vacant for?
It's 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, when my father passed away, my father's widow, who is my stepmother, was in control of the family trusts and assets, and she was in control of that property. She didn't turn the air conditioner on for several years. So even though the air conditioner works,
There's mold.
so it's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but when I took over the property, I literally took it over only a couple months ago. So as soon as I did, the first thing I did was, let's get this going.
What was that before?
My father's a
Your
CPA.
father's law?
He was a
Yeah.
certified public accountant.
Yeah.
In fact, if you look at that property and you see the H&R Block and you saw the Jackson Hewitt, you can thank my dad, because that's why people started doing
Okay,
accounting work
excellent.
around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there any insurance on the property?
There was an insurance policy, but again, there was nothing paid out. There was no claim officially made, and I'm not in a position that I can do that, because at the time I was not technically the property owner.
Yeah.
The property is now held in a trust that I'm the managing director, but that's the honest truth.
So apart from the correction of October 15th,
Yeah, I'm
that's
sorry.
your letter.
Yeah, sorry.
All right.
Well, I tell you, the pictures,
Yeah. And I'm sorry
pictures
about
tell
that.
a tale.
Yeah.
So, do you have a
Yeah.
motion? Or,
Yeah, it's gonna
Okay,
look good.
do we have any questions?
I think we-
Have any questions? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
Yes,
so
move.
moved.
I second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have a good evening.
If, 2 CR advisory meetings ago, we discussed the Northwest 7th Avenue police officer, with the great success of the downtown public safety officer. The Vice Mayor Desulme had requested we consider it, and it was brought up before. And since we were not here and we were in China at the CRA board meeting and everything, the meeting was, this item was postponed to this month. So Major Page is here in case you have any questions. I think he had already presented it. We're requesting approval of a total of $44,506 to cover an Northwest Corridor CRA off-duty officer from June to September 30th. Remember, our fiscal year ends September 30th. So when we do our budget the following year, if we continue this, and this item will be presented to you, then he'll be providing pretty much, Mr. Page, Major Page, can you elaborate, please?
Yes, I can. As Rasha has stated, it was to do a similar program as we've done here in the downtown corridor. And you can see from the page in your pamphlet, that it basically extend from Northwest 10th Ave to 95 on 119th Street and 119th Street up to 125th Street. For landmark references, that's basically from the post office to where the old Jimmy's was, up to where the Burger King and the Finger Licking is. So it's that southeast corner of the west side of North Miami. That location was picked for two reasons. It was picked because we wanted a small enough geographic area where one officer could actually make a impact for visibility. If you made it bigger, you'd lose that impact. That's where we've gained a lot of the success in the downtown corridor, is the size is limited in area, where they can actually have personal interactions with the business owners, the people coming, and everything else. There's 4 things on the paper you have. One is the map that depicts the location. The second graph or chart to the right is the hours of operations for the businesses. The green represents the opening hour, and the red represents the closing hour. You can see that 9 o'clock is when the majority of the businesses, close to 20 of the businesses in that area, all open at 9 o'clock. And you can see the majority of businesses close either at 1700 hours, or at 1900 hours, which is 7 o'clock. If you go down below the map, you'll see percentage of calls for service. That ranges anywhere from a crime to an incident to a dispute. You can see the majority of the calls for service come in starting about 9 o'clock, which corresponds to the opening hours for the businesses. And it peaks right about 6 o'clock, 1800 hours, which also corresponds pretty much to the closing hour of the businesses. So the majority of the police workload there is during the operation hour of the businesses. And you can see it's pretty consistent from Sunday through Saturday for the days of the week. So we're recommending a 9 to 7, a 10-hour shift, which would correspond to the operation hours of the businesses, correspond to the retail hours that the businesses are there and the people are coming to the businesses. And our main goal in that area is to reduce the fear of crime, because crime is not that high in the area, but there's a perception that there's crime and disorder in the area. So through heightened police presence, we want to reduce that fear of crime in the area and hope to improve the property values in the businesses. And you can see a brief description at the bottom: provide high visibility community policing, make regular contacts with businesses, response to calls for service, detect causes and propose solutions, conduct crime prevention presentations, and document their efforts. If there's any questions?
It seems odd to me, it's a little bit odd that you'd only be on one side of the street.
No, it's on both sides of the street. If you look at the map, in the purple map, basically the alleyway. It's the alleyway that runs behind the businesses,
Right.
and it goes all the way to 95.
To 95.
There's an alleyway that runs between 7th and 8th Ave.
95 was 7th Avenue.
No, the big roadway in the middle is I-95. So it encompasses both. It says it on the roofs in small fine print.
Right, okay.
It has it in fine print. If you read, if you get a magnifying glass out, you'll see it says I-95.
Thank you very much.
But it's from 95, which is actually Northwest 6th Court, and that's why in the descriptor on the second line it says from Northwest 7th Ave to 6th Court. It'll go from 6th Court basically past 7th Ave to the alleyway that runs between 7th and 8th Ave. So it encompasses the whole business corridor.
How does this compare to the cost that we have downtown? Is it sort of the...
It's very similar in cost. The downtown,
It's just prorated.
yeah, it's
On a prorate
prorated, and the
basis.
downtown might have a few extra hours to it, but not many. Because on Friday and Saturday, the downtown officer stays later for some of the activities that go on at Billy's Pub, Luna Star, Mocha Cafe. Here, there's not very many businesses open past 9, 10 o'clock at night. The two that you see at 2400 right there are the chicken restaurants, the Kentucky Fried Chicken, the Pollo, and Kentucky Pollo, there's a third chicken restaurant there.
Burger King.
Burger King,
That's on 127.
Burger King's further north, but there's the Popeyes is the third one. All three of them have identical hours. They all stay open till midnight. So those are your 3 businesses that stay open till midnight right there. And the Finger Licking was not included because it stays open till about 3 a.m. So it would have fallen off of our chart, but it's an outlier for the businesses.
How come you guys didn't go any further?
We needed an arbitrary cutoff, and when we looked at for a geographic area for one officer to either walk, ride a bike, go from business to business, and to actually walk that loop within the time frame and make contact with the businesses, that was pretty much it. One of the concepts that's held good at the downtown corridor is pretty much that line of sight concept, where when the officer's out there walking, no matter where they are in the corridor, they'll always be pretty much in the line of sight from the other businesses. From 119th Street to 125th Street, you're pretty much beyond that line of sight already at that distance, but you're still within a close enough area where if you had to respond back to somewhere, even if you were on foot, you could respond back to somewhere. Once we cross 125th Street, it did 2 things. expanded the distance. Also, if you looked at the businesses in the area, the character of businesses changed somewhat too. When you go north of 125th Street, you have Bob Hughes, you have the church, you have Devon Lumber, you have some of the bigger plazas. South of 125th Street, they're the smaller plazas with the more mom and pop businesses and everything else. So the character of businesses also changed a little bit north of 125th Street versus south of 125th Street. And it's a pilot program. If we come back in a month or in 2 months and we figure that it's too concise of an area, that it can be expanded, the officers can do more, we would have nothing expanding it out to 135th Street or even up to 135th Street. But we needed a starting point to see how the operation worked at first.
What time's that Burger King up there closed?
The Burger King stays open. It's actually on 127th Street. No, the Burger King, the inside stays open till 10. The drive-through stays open till midnight.
Yeah.
So the lobby closes at 10. The drive-through closes at midnight.
But you still have Wendy's, right?
Wendy's stays open till about 2 a.m.
Yeah, but
The
only-
drive-through.
Only the drive-through.
Only the drive-through, correct. And we had to do, remember when we do the CRA for the downtown, the same thing for Northwest 7th Avenue? Is that we're doing for the greater good of all the businesses, and there'll always be that outlier business that stays open later or has different hours to it. And Rasha said I already used too many words. I only have 500 words. I'm already at like 3,000.
Yes,
Thank
that's
you.
right.
Yes, sir.
I think one more question.
My office is on 119 between 6 and 7. Make sure you stop by and say hello.
We're right there. You're the anchor point for us. You're that bottom anchor point right there.
Good.
Well, they have, it's proven to be well worth it for the downtown area. It's proven to be and I think it's a great thing to do on 7th as well. I think the increased police presence, particularly the mom and pop stores, really gives them security and gives, as you say, the perception that, you know, things are good, okay? And so I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea.
I make a motion. Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Okay.
We have, I'm sorry, on
Go
the
ahead.
community-based police, we have to get permission from the county, or we?
No, that's part of it's within our budget, and I'm
Okay.
actually gonna talk a little bit more about community policing in
Gotcha.
general as part of the CRA, and the executive director's report, which I can segue into.
Mr. Babby's not here.
Hmm?
Mr. Babby's not
Yes, I'm sorry,
Continental
Mr. Chair, Mr.
Uniform?
Babby's
Oh.
not here from Continental Uniform, he was notified, so if, you know, we can present it to,
Continue it.
Continue
Continue
it
it to
until
the
the
following
next meeting?
meeting.
Okay.
Alright, thank you.
Everybody in agreement? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Question. I just would want to know why he wasn't here, though.
Yeah, that's no
Yeah,
problem. I mean,
emergency.
something could have happened, but we did email and call, like, all the applicants came, he could have had an emergency. And I'm actually concerned because remember, it's the uniform place, they're busy in August, right before school starts, and he wanted to have the stuff done beforehand.
Do they have to
So-
be present? Do they have to be present to present, or can we go over this? Because
Well, no,
obviously
in case you have questions that I can't answer, the applicant needs to be here.
You know, when you
You
come
know.
with your hand out, I think you should be here.
Yeah,
Okay.
most of the time it would be better for the applicant to be here.
That's not a problem, I think, you know, something could have happened.
He may have
Okay.
gotten it mixed up. You never know.
Yeah, right, he could show up next
May
week.
not know when you get hold of him. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the city attorney, our attorney is not here, so we move on to our executive director report.
Yes, and before I go through the China trip, I wanted to talk about the CRA attorney report, which is pretty much giving you an update on our negotiations with the county on our extension. We've been negotiating the interlocal, there's a lot of things, and that goes back to what I was saying to Mr. Each. There were certain items in a CRA legislation that they're about to pass that we've also incorporated into our interlocal. Some of it affects affordable housing. A minimum of 10% of our budget should go towards affordable housing every year. Having a clawback clause in our grants, which we already do. Having representation, I think it was discussed before that they feel like a county commissioner should sit on the board. It looks like we might have more than one, so I'm waiting to hear the final thing. That item, the CRA legislation for all CRAs in Dade County was supposed to be heard at the May 17th County Commission, and that was pulled. So I don't know when that's gonna be passed, but it is in our interlocal, the language and so on. So two things. One, the county put in the interlocal for us to cap our community policing to 10% of our budget. And so pretty much, like, and I think when we had this discussion the first time when we brought this up, is the CRA funds policing for anything but what a police officer normally does, which means, you know, tickets, speeding tickets, and so on and so forth. So they want to make sure that when we do this and we move forward, they are doing everything in above the normal police officer and so on and so forth.
So you're saying they don't want us to pick up the city's expense, right?
Exactly. They don't want us to have, you
sense,
know, like
right.
right now we have 1.5. They don't want us next year to show we got 20 police officers and so on and so forth. So they want to make sure that what we're doing is restricted to exactly what it is, that the you know, the mission is community policing. So moving forward, as we look at our budget and what we're gonna be funding, it'll be specifically to those kind of things. Another thing that they put in as a clause, which I thought was funny, but, you know, I guess they can see ahead, is they've also capped our maintenance, capital maintenance, to 10% of our budget, which means, you know, normally whenever a CRA funds a project, traffic circles, right? We can maintain it because it was funded by the CRA. We can maintain the electricity. If it's dilapidated, if an accident happened and the insurance doesn't cover it, the CRA will cover it. So as we look at capital projects that we're doing enhancements, streetscapes, and so on and so forth, they want to make sure, again, that whatever we're doing, we're not kind of blending the city's capital budget and maintenance into ours.
The capital improvement fund with the CRA.
Yes, because we
So-
are
so
funding
they wanna
capital
keep it at
projects, the
10%?
maintenance of
Just
it.
the maintenance?
Just the maintenance.
Okay, all right.
Which
That
could
makes-
be, no, it could be, you know, a little bit
that
astronomical.
makes sense, no, I'm
You know,
sure.
you know, you do a huge boulevard with streetscape and so on, or a huge park, the maintenance of that as it gets outdated would fall in the CRA while it's still in existence. So therefore, they just want to make sure that we're not maintaining something that normally the city would be doing with their general fund. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, it's things that's going to be affected throughout. Again,
You have a legitimate project that you want to fix up a park that's been dilapidated for a lot of years. And you have
Perfect
the
example
funds,
is
and it's in the
Oleander
CRA
Park.
district, and you want to come in and do it, and you don't have the funds from the capital improvement, but you have the.
yeah, but
so
perfect
it's-
example is Oleander Park, right? It's an old baseball field. It doesn't even look like a baseball field. The entrance, you know, if I gain 5 more pounds, I won't be able to come in through the fence.
Yeah,
Do you know, it's not ADA, it's not this, no, seriously. And it doesn't have a pavilion, it doesn't allow for the community to come and participate. So, you know, it was approved in the budget that you approved this past October, so once it's done, we will need to maintain it if something happens and so on and so forth. So as these things happen, they just wanna make sure that, one, we're prioritizing, and two, we're not, like, overspending
So
ourselves.
we can do capital improvement, but only up to, okay, but only the
Yeah,
maintenance.
the maintenance is at 10%.
Okay, only the maintenance on those capital.
10%.
10%, okay?
10%
Of our budget.
Of our budget. okay.
Cannot go, no more than 10%
All
of
right.
our annual budget. Okay,
Okay, so
so that was where I am. We submitted everything we needed to them. I'm waiting to hear from them by tomorrow, but we should be at the county's Prosperity Finance Committee in July to present. And if they, agree and we move forward, we'll be at the BCC. So therefore, I would come to you in July for some positive updates. And another item is, normally the city council recesses after July 12th to August 23rd. So since we don't have a meeting August 23rd normally, because it'd be the first and the second Tuesday of the month, we'll probably have a special meeting August 23rd, the CR meeting then, in case we have to ratify any changes that the Board of County Commission presents to us through the interlocal. So just giving you guys an update to, be prepared, and I will need the quorum.
Rasha,
Yes.
so that would be passed by the county commission in September?
It would have to be, yes. Right now, it's going to the Finance Committee for their July meeting, which is like the first Thursday of the month.
Okay, Chad.
And then if everything goes well and they don't have any issues, we will bring it to you if there are any changes, yeah. So as soon as they say.
We're really, it's a little tight, huh?
We're trying. Remember, October 1st is our,
If
we
it
sunset.
If it sunsets before the extension is done, what does that do?
Well, the attorney's not here to answer, but I'm pretty sure there might be something we can, work on. I guess it's such a short time frame that we can still work on it, but I think if it was like 3 months, it expired 3 months ago or something like that, then we'd have to start from beginning and the finding of necessity and so on and so forth. But I can't speak, I'm not the attorney, I can't speak for, Steven Zelkowitz, but we're doing the best that we can, and the county's aware, and we're tight, but we're on schedule. Okay, so unless they have any huge changes that we think would be a problem, we're moving along. Okay, any questions yet on that? Okay. Secondly, the office, normally the Office of Management and Budget, OMB, at the county audits us, as per interlocal and everything. They were here in 2012, they audited us, and now the Office of the Inspector General is here, and they are starting to audit us, and it's, normal and so on. The only difference is, now it's the Office of the Inspector General, which is kind of like an independent government department to audit everyone, school board, Dade County, and so on and so forth. Usually it would be a county department, but it's a new body. And they did, last August, send a public records request, as you recall. Steven Zelkowitz had mentioned it. They had requested all the CRAs in Dade County to send their files over for them to review, and so on and so forth. Our interlocal specifically said that it's the county that can audit us, but since the new CRA legislation has the Office of Inspector General, so as of October 1st, it would be their jurisdiction. It doesn't make it, it really doesn't make a difference. So they're here. The young lady came this morning, and we settled her in one of the offices, and she's going to be here for a couple of months, and that's because she's only here like 1 day a week. She's not here the full week. She audits the school board and other county departments and things like that. She will probably be here in July to observe. She'll be at the next CRA meeting next week because, since she just started, she's getting her bearings. So I'm just letting you know. She might contact you also. I mean, she is the auditor. She's reviewing minutes and everything from 2011 to now. She's going through everything. And the last audit we had was from 2005 to 2011. Okay.
Is she looking for anything specific or just for compliance, making sure everything's in order?
Well, we had an interview discussion with her, and first of all, this is the first time that they've ever audited a CRA. Usually it used to be the county, so it's new to them. They read the grand jury report, they've been reading the paper, and so on and so forth, but the feedback they gave the city manager and myself was it's just normal auditing, and and one thing we stressed was understanding that we did go through a reorganization. There was past administration, there's new administration, and we've taken all the steps. So whatever she finds, if it reflects prior to 2014, we've pretty much addressed it to make sure that it is stated in her audit report, so that everybody's aware that we were proactive in what we were doing, and we made sure that we did everything we're supposed to do. So that's where we stand on that. So I just want to let you know. Okay, so the Chinatown presentation. Okay. So also I brought some of our brochures, collateral materials. It was pretty much a 2.5-week turnaround to prepare all the collateral materials to do the presentations in China. So I'm going to present it to you, but if you want to see the brochures that we were able to do, we actually had it translated in Chinese. Very, I would hope you're very impressed by, how we got stuff done so quickly and so on and so forth. And this is a very great marketing tool that I got from RMA, our marketing and branding people. It's a business card zip drive. So it has our Welcome to North Miami video, and it also has the brochure on it. So as we were meeting, and as you can see, it has the North Miami and the CRA logo. It has our web address and everything on it. I wasn't able to be that creative to put in something nicer, but it met our needs because all the people we met, they ended up not only with the business card, but they have all our information on the zip drive. So I thought that was very cool. All right, you know what, I think I can run with it. So this presentation that I'm showing you was actually presented to the City Council on May 24th by Ms. Tanya Wilson-Sejour, the Director of Planning, who was with us. Now, if you all know Tanya, you know she's very eloquent. I'm not like her, so I apologize. Okay. So as you recall, the City Council had passed a resolution adopting a specific corridor along Northwest 7th Avenue between Northwest 119th Street to Northwest 135th Street as the Chinatown Cultural Arts and Innovation District. It is 16 blocks. It's 92 acres. It is right in the heart of our CRA along Northwest 7th Avenue. And the good part about it is, as you recall in our CRA plan, the redevelopment of our major corridors was one of our priorities to have done in order to affect the TIF. Okay. We did have a timeline that we had set, and we're exactly par on course, that I'm very happy to say. We've, apart from the resolution that was passed, we are, I can't see with my glasses. We did the China visit, and last week we released the RFQ for the Chinatown master plan design. It's on the CRA website, it's on the city's website. Anybody who's interested, they can look at it, and so on and so forth. We made sure it was broad enough that it's not only restricted to people in Miami. It was very broad so that any professional designer in all over the country can apply. The only thing would be when they do come to apply and start doing business, they would have to have a license in the state of Florida or partner with a licensed, an architect license in the state of Florida. After we get the RFQ packets and so on, it's estimated by July 5th we'll get it. Then we're gonna start working with the steering committee. I'm very pleased to say that one of our advisory board members is on the steering committee, Ms. Geimer. She will be the representative as a resident on the Chinatown. As soon as we get the steering committee, and also on the steering committee, there's representative from the Beacon Council in terms of international economic incentives. One of the things that we heard a lot about from the Chinese nationals was about EB-5 visas, how can they get it as part of their investment and so on and so forth. So that is a very big plus from the Beacon Council that we're getting. We will be having several community meetings to review with the steering committee on the plan that the consultant would come up with, and we hope to have by November, December of 2016 an adopted master plan with design and everything to present to the board and to the city council and to the public to adopt. We're hoping by October 2017 to have a ribbon cutting of a Chinatown gateway. Okay, so the objective of the trip was to establish, a relationship, explore a sister city relationship with the city of Tianjin, China, understand the Chinese culture and the traditional architecture, and look at economic development opportunities and make contacts with private investors. As you can see at the bottom, the business card for Tanya, all of our business cards, they were double-sided, English on one side and Chinese on the other side, so that when we met with them, we were able to, they can see that we actually did our homework and we were prepared. Also on the right, you can see these are pictures of the architecture and also your wonderful CRA and city staff presenting to the Chinese investors and to the media and so on. And also, I have to say that we were very lucky to have one of your advisory board members on the trip with us. Ms. Marie Estime Irvin was on the trip with us as well, so she can give you some feedback as well. Not a lot of people realize it, but FIU has a campus in China, in Tianjin. They've been there for 12 years. It's a University of Hospitality and Tourism. They have over 1,000 students there, and it was through their invitation, their official invitation, that we're able to get our visas and to be able to go through the various cities that we went to. And we're fortunate also to see their the graduation. They had a graduation, and that helped us to understand that we do already have it, because people ask, well, do you have Chinese people here, and so on and so forth. We do. I mean, they bring about 500 students here, Chinese students from China, to FIU. Another thing we didn't know is that their parents buy houses for them while they're here. Okay, the FIU, the Chinese teachers that they have, they've bought property. One of the gentlemen, Mr. Feng, that was with us, he lives in Arch Creek. We didn't even realize that they've already started buying property in North Miami. So our job was to, apart from, you know, solidifying the relationship with FIU and the Tianjin University of Commerce, to promote North Miami as a destination for arts, culture, and innovation, and definitely get some contacts and connections with urban planning in China. Again, I do have the brochures there, but you can see the collateral materials. At the bottom right is the Welcome to North Miami video, and it's on channel 77. For me it was funny because every time they saw the video, even though the voiceover is in English, so it's not like they could understand every single thing, whenever they got to the Arch Creek, the preserves, the enchanted forests, you could hear them, you know, laughing, smiling because of the environment. They saw, you know, there was a couple of birds and iguanas in there, and we had a whole segment on how, you know, the enchanted forest is a great refuge and a great park. So they liked that. We took, as you can tell, like everywhere we went, we try to take as many pictures as possible so that we can maintain and see what it is that you call, you know, Chinese architecture, and to make sure that we're respectful of what it is that they do. You can see to the right how the McDonald's, they have it there. And, you know, it still has the Chinese architecture. It has the McDonald's written in English, in Chinese on top. So we took a lot of pictures. They're very big on greenways, green spaces. Their medians are full of roses. They're very bike and pedestrian friendly people. One thing I have to say is, you know, because a lot of it had to do with the pollution and so on and so forth, they're very big on green environment now, and a lot of their investment and their focus is on those type of things now. So this is the team that went, and as you can see, it's Ms. Wilson Sejour, the Vice Mayor, myself, Councilman Keys, the Deputy City Manager, Arthur Sori, Ms. Estime Irvin, and Mr. Shu Feng. He is a professor at FIU, and he was the gentleman who assisted us and got us from point A to point B, introduced us to various businesses, the media, and so on and so forth. So this is what we did. So we went to Beijing. From Beijing, we flew to Shanghai. From Shanghai, we flew to Tianjin, and then we took the bus to Beijing to get back here. It was a pretty much 2-day trip and 12 days of presentations. So our first trip was in Beijing. At the top, you'll see a little bit of information about Beijing. And another thing was so funny because when you meet the government officials and they're asking you about the population, and you're like, well, we're 60,000, and then, you know, we're a neighborhood in their town. It's kind of funny. So, but they loved, you know, what we had to say, and the presentation was very well done because we were able to show that, you know, we're in the middle of the market. We're between Miami, between Fort Lauderdale Airport, you know, the beaches and so on, and we're a growth opportunity. So our first day, they had set up a press conference, and you can see that on top there. We had to give up the rest of our seats. It was all media, and we had to do a presentation. So Ms. Wilson Sejour and I did the presentation she did it on the whole master plan, how we came about to this, and then I talked about the CRA and what the CRA does, what we currently offer as incentives, and how we can, you know, partner and work together. So we did various presentations. One of the presentations we did, I think it was the following day, as V Startup. It's an incubator organization, and it's so funny for me because I'm used to incubators being nonprofit, funded, sponsored. This is a not private, but it's a for-profit company. They have shareholders. This is where, you know, we have WhatsApp, they have WeChat. That's where WeChat spun out of. The way they're set, they have 5 floors of just young, innovative people coming up with ideas. They have shareholders supporting them, and they even have a system where, you know, they check up on you every 3 months, and if your project is not on schedule, you know, they bump you off because there's a wait list. They offer room and board. They take care of your licenses. They take care of you because they know at the end of the day that product you're going to come out with is priceless, and they're going to be able to capitalize on it, and you're going to be able to move on. And they are looking at a North America market. They were looking at a connection. They have a relationship with Microsoft. They have other relationships with big companies. But one thing that we got out of them was that they were very interested in understanding what we wanted to do in the Chinatown area, and not only in the Chinatown area, but how they can start building relationships for what it is that they're doing. So I thought that was, very good. Then we met this is a huge nonprofit foundation, and they provide assistance throughout China. It's called the Gonghua Foundation. I know I massacred it, and I apologize. But they were able to show us how they help the youth in innovation and technology throughout China, how they help support so that they can continue the work throughout China. Again, the gentleman on top with the white short sleeve shirt, it was so funny because he was there and he was very serious and businesslike, and then afterwards he says, you know what, I like this Chinatown idea because I don't want to go to New York to go to Chinatown. I'd rather come to Miami where there's the beach. It's like, yay! We also visited the University of Shanghai when we flew to Shanghai. We attended a business expo at the Intercontinental Hotel. It's pretty much at the Intercontinental Hotel, it was exactly what it says, a business expo, where all these various businesses were giving opportunities to Chinese nationals and to invest. And we had a room for the city of North Miami presenting the Chinatown, and we had over 30 people in there that signed up for the session to meet and to understand what it is that we're trying to do. Again, a lot of the questions were around the EB-5 visa, to understand how that would work. Are you familiar with the EB-5 visas, or do I need to give the EB-5 visa, are you familiar with that? Okay. No, I'm just saying, like, in case some people don't know what that is. EB-5 visa is a visa for investors that the EB-5, yeah, that you have to invest $500,000 and so on and so forth. So they wanted to know how that would work. And a couple of questions that we got was, well, what if we buy the whole, 16 blocks? Who's going to be there to manage the build out for us, and so on and so forth? So it was kind of funny because we're like, we didn't think that far, but I'm pretty sure somebody can do it. I'm pretty sure there are already companies that exist to take care of these things. And they were asking questions like, well, what kind of taxes will I pay, as a Chinese national if I don't move? And is it going to be reported in China, and so on and so forth? So they gave us a lot of homework to better understand, what it is that we're doing. But the enthusiasm that we received was priceless. So again, in China, we were able to visit the Bunt, which was it's a hotel, and it has a waterfront view. And this at the bottom, this is Tanya, who went to the Urban Planners Museum. She spent the whole day with a group of planners to understand how they map out their cities, how they plan it, and so on and so forth. You're looking at Shanghai, where they have like 200-story buildings, which is very scary. And then you'll see in this particular area where they want to, stay like no more than 2-3 stories, because they want to maintain that look and feel of China, because a lot of it is going more modern and so on and so forth. So when we went to Tianjin, again, we met with representatives of the Tianjin University of Commerce. We also met with one government official from the Tianjin, Department on Tourism, and he was very interested to talk to us a little bit more. One thing that we did when we first got there was another, expo, business expo, and I'm very happy to say that Ms. Geimer had given me the idea before I got on the plane that we needed a Chinese microbrewery. And when I landed in China, I asked the gentleman who was with us, I'm like, it would be great if, and at that meeting, I met one. He's a microbrewer in Tianjin, and, he's already been emailing me. He's very interested in understanding how it would work, and so on and so forth. So I thought that was very, great. Also, we attended the FIU, spring graduation, and it was, and you see all these students, half of them are cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude. I felt dumb. So seriously. So when you look at the program, half of these kids are, and they're going to be going to Stanford, they're going to be going to universities in London, they're going everywhere. This is just their bachelor's now, they're going for higher level. Some of them were already recruited to work for big companies. Some of them are going to be coming here. So it was a great thing. Lessons learned. Largest manufacturer and exporter of retail industrial products with a sacrifice. You know, they do everything, right? A perfect example was when you go there, you have protocol gifts to present, to the dignitaries, and they tell you that tradition is for them to give you something that's made from their place. And when you think about it, for us, everything we have is made in China, right? So when you're giving a gift, you know, it's coming from China. And somebody made that comment. It was kind of funny. But their environment suffered. You know, the pollution and so on and so forth suffered. And now they're going more environmentally friendly, and they're looking at other ways to invest their monies in other businesses, and mainly in North America. So those are the things that we got in there. Interest in partnership from investors, universities, and urban planners. So the next step is obviously, you know, doing a follow-up with them. We took out the RFP, so we're good. We're going to have a steering committee meeting soon. We're going to start doing the workshops and create the charrette. So from that point, we've been getting a lot of emails and a lot of requests for meetings. They want to do a delegation tour here in September. One thing that happened last week, we received a request from a large group of Chinese investors who were in LA to see the presentation. So the vice mayor and the city manager and deputy city manager were flown to LA to present to them, like within 24 hours. They flew Monday, Memorial Day weekend. They came back Tuesday night. It was a very positive meeting, I'm told. Again, the whole comment about when we buy the whole 60 blocks, you know, what else is there to do? So we do have to formalize our plans and understand, you know, we're at the beginning phase, right? So as we're going through it, just understanding what it is that they want and to make sure that it is the quality that we're looking for. We're setting up a website so that they in China can keep up with what we're doing, because a lot of the questions they have is they want to know, you know, how we're progressing, and they would like to give some input. I think that's it. So if you're interested, also, if you know anybody interested, again, the RFP's on our website for a designer architect for the China master plan.